when the boat comes in.
It was telling it like it was and what it meant to the people up there. And, you know, it was in their hearts and affected their bodies physically and everything. And it was just incredibly real, I thought. It was a joy to do, I must say.
Yeah, I think it's such a timeless series, partly because of the time period, but also because of the fine actors, great characters, and brilliant storylines, weren't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's what I was going to sort of hope that you might talk about, which was all the early stuff, particularly. I mean, I think the scripts were pretty good throughout, but the early stuff, which was all filmed up there in Newcastle, which was lovely, and they were written by people like, well, Jimmy Mitchell, of course, he was a welder, I think, on the docks, who could write as well, and I mean, they were all proper local Geordie people who'd been through the mill and knew what it was like, you know, or their parents had been involved in all the strikes and everything, and so, you know, it really came from people who knew what they were talking about.
Why on earth should that thing go off at this hour? Does anyone know?
The strike.
Well?
It must be over. We must have won.
How much you get?
Nout. Gave us nout. Same wages we struck against 8 weeks ago. And bloody lucky to get that. Hear the boss's talk. 8 weeks of misery and all for nout.
It caught the people's imagination, definitely. Lots and lots of people, you know, because we were still living in London still, and there were a lot of people would sort of, you know, be stopping you and saying, oh, especially, obviously, Jim, coming after the Likely Lads and everything, which was so popular, you know, into this real proper drama, gave him a chance to show his skills, which was great.
Have you anything to say?
Well, of course. To begin with, I don't recognise the validity of this court. It's all very well to say we're all equal under the law, but when you're starving, you're only equal to the next poor bugger who's starving.
That will do.
Not for me, it won't. That woman had nout. If it had been left to you, she'd be in the workhouse now and her bairns would be in the orphanage. Well, that's not my idea of justice, never was and never will be. I did what I could, and I'd think myself less of a man if I hadn't.
Well said. Well said. If this uproar continues, I shall clear the court.
All right, lads, all right. Give me his chance, give me his chance.
I shall hear anything more you have to say. Anything relevant, that is. No more political speeches.
I reckon you've had enough for one day. With folks like you, it takes a long time to sink in. I've finished. Till the next time.
I thought the scene when you broke up with Jack was fine acting. I thought that was really believable, and you did that fantastically well.
Yeah, yes, actually, yes. Now you've brought that back to me, yes.
I've got a girl into trouble. I'm going to have to marry her.
Anybody I know?
Matt Headley's sister. I stayed the night at his house once. She was there too.
You lying cheat.
That's right. I love you, Jessie. I've never known anybody like you. But I'm the way I am. You could wait, I couldn't. I'm sorry.
For me, Jack? Or for her? Seems to me we'd neither of us got much to look forward to. Well, is that all you've got to tell me?
Aye.
You'd better go then.
You're entitled to your say.
I've said all I want to.
So long then.
Wait. Are you taking her to London?
No.
You mean you'll leave her here?
I mean the job's off.
But why?
I'd never do any good away from here. Anyway, maybe you and Billy were right. Look what happened to your dad. There's work here crying out to be done, Jessie, and I can do it better than most. So long.
enjoyed the Farnham Common episode because I have a facility to cry. I can cry to order, and Ed can't really cry, or couldn't, bless him. And there's Jack dying, supposedly in Spain, and I'm just streaming with tears. Very pleased with myself.
Oh, it looks like I'll get my name on the Roll of Honour after all, Bonnie lass. It won't be yours, will it? Scott Palace will be on that.
Jack, I swear to you, I never dreamt of this.
He knows that, don't you, Jack?
Maybe the Fitters Union's got one. I wouldn't mind having my name on theirs. I'm still a member, you know. Always paid me dues. Always. That's the only way I could ever live with myself. Isn't that right? Bonnie lass?